what bugs me? Carpenter bees. They're extremely destructive, which means expensive to fix.
A fabulous bird, reborn from the ashes of its earlier life.
How dare you, insect? How dare you interrupt my ascendance?
Carpenter bees are often mistaken for bumblebees, but if you put them side by side, they're very different. The carpenter bee is much larger and has a black, shiny hiney versus the fuzzy derriere of the bumblebee. Bumblebees usually nest in the ground, where carpenter bees don't really nest as much as drill holes. The females drill vertically into the wood the length of her body and then takes a 90-degree turn. She lays an egg in there with pollen and regurgitated nectar and then caps it with wood. Then another egg, and she seals that off, and another egg until she seals that off until she has a bunch of eggs ready to cook. They'll hatch in about 1 to 3 months depending on the species. The males are usually the ones scaring people, dive bombing everyone who gets too close. But the good news is that males don't have stingers, but the females do, though they rarely use them. I've swatted them mid-flight, and I've even caught them barehanded and never been stung. I don't recommend this, though. Just don't do that because you might get stung. Don't come crying to me if you get burned playing with fire. I warned you. So the damage that carpenter bees cause can be extensive if left unchecked, especially if you have weathered or unpainted wood. There isn't really a good solution to any flying insect, though with pests like wasps and hornets, we can remove the nest, but there really isn't an effective method to prevent them from building it in the first place. All the old wives' tales about a paper bag or essential oil methods are just plain silly. Most people think that we professionals have some magic unicorn juice that will make all the bugs stay away forever and ever, amen? That's just not reality. There are 3 ways to treat carpenter bees. You can treat the surface of the wood to prevent drilling, but being exposed to the elements like that means it's just not going to last long at all and needs to be redone often depending on the wood and whether it's painted or stained. Even then, what you end up with is divots in the wood that look like someone hit it with the ball end of a ball-peen hammer, which I guess is better than nothing, but you still have them causing damage to the wood that ends up costing about the same to replace. Another option is to treat inside the galleries that they have drilled. Depending on when you do this, the maximum kill is about 1. Mama's the only one who drills the galleries, and Dad's outside flying around to scare you away. Even if you're lucky and get Mama, your treatment isn't breaking through the several layers of wood and spit concrete barriers that she constructed to protect the eggs. So, not a real good solution either, unfortunately. The third option is a paint or stain additive to deter the carpenter bees. The obvious issues arise when you realize a couple things. Number one, you've got no idea where they will attack, so you have to paint the entire house, and that can get very expensive, not to mention the price of the additive, which I've seen anywhere from $15 to $100 per gallon. The kicker is that half the customers I've spoken to said it did okay. A quarter of them said it did great. And the rest said it did absolutely nothing. Those results, coupled with a huge added cost, tells me it's not a great option either. So now what? What do you do? You can do one or a combination of those things, and you might get some good results. But even then, it's just temporary. You need to stop the cycle. So here's what I recommend at minimum. In season, there isn't much that you can do. There's a product called BB Blocker that's a small screen cup that can be placed inside the hole to prevent the female from drilling further into the wood. Ideally, you want to do this before she drills far enough to take that 90-degree turn and start laying eggs. But how do you know? This will force her to drill another hole or go to bother the neighbors. Then at the end of the season, late fall to early winter, Pressure wash the wood to remove her pheromones. The female will come back to that same hole next year and make it bigger if you don't take her road map away. If you wash the pheromones off, you essentially are taking her road map away. That doesn't mean she can't randomly find and drill next to the old hole from the last season, but she won't be necessarily attracted there. The next step is to seal the holes. And it doesn't matter what you use. The goal here is to make sure the damage that has already been done doesn't get worse by moisture rotting the wood from the inside out, making it more inviting to pests. You can use caulk, you can foam, wood filler, or even a dowel rod. Cut a small piece of, I think it's 3/8 dowel rod, and usually that fits perfect right up in that hole with a little wood glue. And then it's ready to paint for next spring. The timing is important here, because if you just go up there and start sealing holes all willy-nilly, a couple things is going to happen. Mama will drill it back out, the eggs will hatch and drill out, or the worst of all, they'll die in there and a woodpecker will make an uglier hole on the side of the wood instead of that little bitty perfect drill hole. That's why you have to wait till the eggs hatch to clean and seal the holes. So the last thing I want to discuss is these Carpenter Bee traps that are sold just about anywhere from Walmart to the Saturday craft fairs. They are pure junk. They are. What most people do is hang them right off what they're trying to protect and actually draw them in right to it. If you have to have them, fine. This is America and you have a right to pointless activity. But here's the reality. If you fill that mason jar trap up 10 times a day, how many more do you think are still flying around the neighborhood? You aren't making a dent in the population. It's like you're trying to drink the ocean with a teaspoon. Ain't gonna happen. But hey, if it makes you feel better, then you just rock on with your bad self. So at the end of the day, there's not really a good solution, but there is a fun solution. Get you a tennis racket. You can give it to the kids. Let them swat them out of the air. Or you can get one of those electric ones, and that's even more fun. You zap them right out of the air. Just don't lick it. Trust me. You want to bugs me? Carpenter bees. But I love to kill them.
Look at me.
You're killing me, Smalls!
So, I stand upon my desk to remind myself that we must constantly look at things in a different way.